morning. Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Lorene Tanaka, and we are here this morning with Victory Outreach Honolulu, Pastor Tony Velasco and Elika Burgess. Elika is the home director with Victory Outreach. Thank you both for being here.
Yes, pleasure.
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be here.
for having us.
Now, substance abuse continues to be a concern in Hawaii, and Victory Outreach is making a difference. Tell us a little bit about Victory Outreach and what you're doing with regard to substance abuse.
Okay, well, Victory Outreach, first of all, thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Victory Outreach started in East Los Angeles.
Okay.
And in East Los Angeles in the 60s when it started, it was a community filled with drugs, gangs, men and women going in and out of prison, people losing custody of their children, people overdosing. The drug of choice at that time was heroin. And so that in an environment like that is when our ministry started in '67. So it, since the beginning, has always had a heart for the drug addict. And about 8 years ago, we came and started a Victory Outreach here in the Hawaiian Islands. We're currently all over the world, Africa, Latin America, but we're just so excited to be here now, for 8 years in the Hawaiian Islands to help with the ICE problem here.
Big problem here.
Yes.
That's true. Now, how bad is it? We talked about ICE. How bad really is it here in Hawaii?
Well, depending on what stats you look at, I have a lot of friends that do rehab work, recovery home work all over the world, and everybody claims to be the meth capital,
Who wants that title, right?
but many people claim that title. But according to many statistics, Hawaii is always in the top 5. Sometimes it's number one in the nation. Sometimes it's 3rd. Sometimes it's 5th. But it's always around that. And as far as per capita, the drug problem, so it's high.
Now, ICE is not only to the people that are on the street that are using it. ICE is being used by people of all walks of life. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. You see it on the news. You see every social class, basically. From and even ages of all ages. And so it's definitely just a poison that's being filled in our communities to just high professions, high paying professions, to teachers, to lawyers, to doctors even. And so yeah, we definitely,
scary.
yes.
That is very scary. And you said it affects all ages. Do we know, well, I wanted to ask you something. There was a commercial that we used to see that could come out, right? It would say just once. Is that true with ICE, that you use it just once and you're hooked?
Most, I would say 99, the high 90% tile, for me, I tried it once and I didn't do it every day after that, but the feeling you get, the sensation, it's a high like no other, it's highly addictive. Yes, you keep craving it. And so I would do it every blue moon, I would say, every few months or so. And then after a while, as life struggles and life issues and different, things that happen, you tend to run to it more and more, especially if you've been drinking, you drink, consume alcohol a lot, marijuana, whatever it is. Those things don't seem to, get you as high as you would like. It numbs you, it helps you to forget about your problems and stuff like that. So for me, that's what happened. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're speaking from experience. Tell us really briefly what your story is, Elika.
Oh,
and
wow.
how you came to Victory Outreach.
Yeah, well, I'm a graduate of Kamehameha Schools, quarterback, had a promising future and life, and unfortunately I fell to drug addiction, crystal meth, started out just smoking weed every day, about 15 years, and with life struggles, ended up getting turned on with the pipe, doing it, sporadically every once in a while. And then it, led me to ultimately being homeless every day, losing my family over it, selling everything I had, losing my job as a journeyman carpenter.
So the drug became so important for you.
Yes, it totally consumed my life, yes. I ended up being homeless, living in Waianae, Ke'au Beach Park, down on the West Coast, and then in Wahiawa, under the bridges and stuff. And so, 7 years ago, I found a flyer on the ground, and long story short, I went in.
What did the flyer say?
It said, "Are you or someone you know hooked on drugs?" And I looked at it and I'm all, yeah, that's me, you know. And then it said, if so, then there is hope. Victory Outreach Christian Living Recovery Home. And
That was Pastor Tony's flyer.
yes, and it had his name on it. There was someone smoking a pipe, a jail cell in the background. And I didn't want that. I wanted to break free, but I just didn't know how. And so this was an opportunity. I entered the men's home back in 2007, learned how to pray, learned how to read the Bible for the first time, actually read it, and realized I got a purpose. I have God has a plan and a future for my life. And so, yes, so
And here
so
you are,
blessed.
the home
Free.
director today.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's a success story. Wow.
Definitely.
Now, part of Victory Outreach, you have staff and you have people, counselors, if you will, that are on you. Tell us about them. What do they do?
Our staff really
How
they
do
get,
they talk to the people that are in substance abuse?
yeah, they get raised up from within.
Okay.
So almost 100% of our staff were actually at one time members of our recovery homes that were eventually raised up, discipled, worked with, and ended up having a heart to go back and reaching out to people who were in their same shoes. So you're talking about individuals counseling that have been there, that have done that. So they definitely relate and are able to help them.
They can really make that connection
Yes,
because
definitely.
it's like I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Right.
Even though I don't believe that you have to necessarily have been there, to be effective. But it definitely, to some people, it does help to have that type of connection.
The trust, right?
Yes.
It's like a trust. It's almost like a feeling that you know where I'm coming from,
Correct,
and I don't have
yes.
to explain everything to you.
Yes.
Okay, so your people are on staff 24/7, or is it a?
Yes, our programs are live-in programs, so they get worked with throughout the whole day, and we have different phases. But the first phase is about 9 months to a year, and so they're there, and we have a men's home, and we also have a home for women, 2 separate houses.
That's good.
Yeah, and
We're going to talk more about that in the second half as we talk with Elika about
Okay.
the home situation. So you're currently just on this island, Victory Outreach?
As
or-
far as in Hawaii, yes,
Okay.
only on Oahu.
Okay. And if somebody is watching this show and they're saying the same thing like Elika said, that's me, what do they do?
For us, we would just simply encourage them to call us. We would be able to help them and give them an opportunity for a drug addict and someone struggling with substance abuse. They need their whole environment to change. They need to just, reconstruct their whole life, a new set of friends, new set of values, new everything. And so we try to provide that. And so we just basically do an intake on them, talk
Okay.
to them. It's free of charge, our programs for men and women, so that's never an issue.
Take us through step by step because it sounds easier said than done.
Yeah.
So a phone call comes into your office and you're starting to ask questions. So you need to get to know them, right?
Yes, we ask them questions. There's a couple of challenges that we have. So, for example, like because of certain policies that we can't take, such as like sex offenders, because of the different children that live near our communities and things like that. But for the most part, they just have to have a desire, and even to be honest, they don't necessarily have to be have the biggest desire. Some people say, "Gosh, that guy is just using you. They're just using your program, because their wife is mad at them, or because the court wants them there." But the truth is, we believe that God could use that, but they just have to have that openness to come in. And of course, we go through the technical rules, I guess you could say, and
Good.
things like that.
There are rules that they have to
yeah,
follow.
definitely.
Okay.
There's rules, and we try to create an atmosphere of respecting those rules and an environment where just the presence of God is at, and where people can come in and change. We believe in anybody who comes in. We believe that anybody could change. We've seen some hard cases of men and women that are just tremendous testimonies as to just how God could change anybody's life.
Yes.
But is it true though, even with God in the picture, the person has to want to change?
I believe so, definitely. I definitely believe that that they have to do their part without a shadow of a doubt.
What if somebody is on the neighbor island and they don't have access to your office? Elika, what happens if they call in and they say, I'm on Maui or I'm on the Big Island? it sounds really great. I need to change my life. I need to change my environment. But
Yeah.
who's going to help me here to do that?
Yeah, no problem. You know, we're welcome to Neighbor Island, you know, men and women to be able to come if they need change. Yes, definitely.
So they'll stay in touch on the phone with you?
Yes, yes, definitely. We'll try to help them raise up the finances to get here and stuff like that. And definitely, we love to you know, help the other islands as well. Yes.
Now, if it's somebody that is, say, not 18 years of age, do they need a parent's permission to talk with you?
We have different homes available within our house.
Okay.
When I came to the program, I was actually 16 years old. So technically, they can't take in someone that's under 18.
Okay.
But what we have is families within the church that have a heart for minors, for young people, such as myself when I came in. And so what they do is they open up their house with the permission of the parents. They get written permission, and they'll basically take them under their wing. And they're people who have gone through our program, so they do it in a similar way, but it's more on a personal way. It's not technically say a Victory Outreach recovery home, but it's
Like a foster home almost.
It's kind of like that,
Right.
yeah, definitely. And that's what they did with me. And
What is your success story, Pastor Tony?
for myself, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I grew up in that gang culture. I was very attracted to that lifestyle. I was those were predominantly my friends. I was into it mainly for the partying, and the partying part, you know, came with drinking, you know, getting high, things like that. You know, we would get involved in fights with other groups of friends, you know, when we'd go, it could just be a typical weekend, and we'd go, you know, I mean, there were shootings all the time in our environment.
What was your turning point that said, I'm had enough of this?
Actually, I met a girl, and she picked up on me at a party. She's gonna kill me for saying that. That's my wife. And so my wife, I met her when I was only 16 years old, and we had a baby, became teenage parents. She had a sister. Her sister was addicted to heroin, and she had been addicted to heroin for like 15 years. But someone from Victory Outreach had reached her.
There you go.
And so her sister, who was a gang member from a notorious gang called 18th Street, she was a drug addict. I mean, literally living in downtown Skid Row and everything. And God ended up changing her. She went to Victory Outreach, and so one day, my grandfather was dying and needed some prayer, so we didn't know where to go. I didn't have a church. I wasn't a church goer. So I go with 3 carloads of what we call our homeboys and homegirls, you know, and I'm there with my girlfriend, 16 years old, and we say, hey, let's go to your sister's church. They're people. And so we show up, 3 carloads, nothing but party people, gang members, and the church gets excited. And the church people, they look just like us.